University, and I majored in physical education, health, and also music and fine arts. I wanted to teach, especially little children, because when I was a child, I loved learning. And learning wasn't difficult for me, but when I was 12, it was a swimming accident from a rope swing. And I swung in the air and hit a cement wall. And then I bounced and hit it again. So I hit both sides of my brain. My brain was injured. And after that, I had some difficulty learning. I was called into the principal's office one day for getting 3 B's and a D, and they were expecting straight A's. He said, "Do you want to go to an easier class?" And I didn't really want to. So I said, "Just give me a little chance, I'll try harder," because they just thought I wasn't living up to my potential. So I figured out a way, and what I would do was I would draw pictures and graphs and charts, and sometimes before a test I would have this blank paper and I would just draw everything out that I could remember and write everything that I could remember about the subject. And then I would look at the test. So the teachers let me use my notes that I had written for myself to use for test taking, and that worked. So it was really in my heart to help children learn in a different way. The things that I learned as a child to help me learn also helped me as an adult. Throughout the time that I was teaching children, everything was fine, but I had another accident. I woke up not being able to walk. So that part of my life happened when I was in my late 40s, and I had to have back surgery. With the back surgery, I had complications after surgery, and I had a stroke. So then all of those compensations that I had made in my younger years just flew out the window, and I had to start all again. So I had to relearn reading, talking, walking, and all of those things. And part of my self-improvement that I wanted to make included being able to speak and be understood. So I did see a neuropsychologist, and she said that I should go to Toastmasters in order to be able to speak and tell my story. The people in there were wonderful and helpful, but what I discovered was all I needed to do was get out my old pieces of paper, crayons, pencils, and pens, and start drawing my story. I discovered that if you can draw your story, it becomes even more creative. And then the words can come with that. So that was part of re-educating myself the same way that I had learned to teach children. Part of what I dealt with when I went to Toastmasters was my memory and listening skills. So it was really hard for me to get my words out, and then if you understand people that have a stroke, sometimes they can't think of the right word, and I would use wrong words. But when I went to Toastmasters and became able to speak a little better, I was also in a wellness program that helped me recover from the pain. So those two combined, plus going to a club called Heart to Heart Communications, I learned that giving back was really important at this point in my life. And what I wanted to do was think of who was making a difference for me ever since I was young, and that was my grandmother. Grandma Catherine over on Curtis Street in Akron. That my grandma was real famous for was the fact that she made soup every single day. And she had become a widow in raising 8 children. Yes, 6 girls and 2 boys. My father was the youngest. And she had soup every day, and there were hobos off the train. The train ran right beside her house. And they would get off and come over to her porch, and she would put soup out for the hobos every day. And the man would eat the soup, maybe take seconds, and he would leave a quarter on the steps and then leave. That way she could make soup for the next hobo coming along. And when I learned that it was time for me to give back, I remembered her. And I thought, I just want to make soup for friends and people. So what I did, with the help of my husband, is we started something called Legacy Friendship Soup. And we did that right here in our apartment. where we started making big pots of soup, and with friends coming over to help us make it. We had great conversation, and then we would pack up what was left and take it to maybe someone who had been in the hospital or students from the university who wanted a home-cooked meal. And that's what we've enjoyed doing for a few years. And I do recall hearing once someone said, the things that matter most do not take place in the boardrooms, but in the kitchens of the world. I really want to take that quote to heart and make it really important for us to project what's important in the world through food and conversation and people making a difference.